Upbeat and catchy songs are helping youth learn the Anishinaabemowin or Ojibwe language. Sherry, Joy, and Dave share their stories and language learning journeys through Nagamoodaa.
Anin, bonjour. I'm Dave Bird, Indigenous Kaz, Pegwis Nindunji. What I said in the Ojibwe language is, my name is Dave Bird, I'm from Pegwis, and Anin and bonjour means hello. Bonjour actually is like a greeting to the elders and somebody of respect. Anin, just everyday, like for us guys. About the Ojibwe language program, we started at Red River College a few years back, and we were just getting going. It was nice. We started up the Nagamoodaa group in the Ojibwe songs, and COVID hit just when we were getting started and shut us down. And so I and the girls, actually, we never seen each other in over a year. I was sure happy to see them today when they come down to the venue down there. I was sure glad to see them. We kept trying to get our songs. We have some songs we were working on, and but then COVID hit, and now the girls got jobs. I'm retired, me. I don't do anything. I just hang around the house and bug my wife all day. But I was a school bus driver for 34 years in Pegwis. And I retired, and I was a carpenter for over 30. Yeah. I'm also a healthcare aide. I used to work at our local hospital. I used to do that on weekends and holidays. Nobody wants to work holidays, so I was the man to call to work.
How about you tell me a little bit about why you wanted to take that Red River course? Why did you want to start your language journey?
The reason I want to take the program there is because there's no fluent speakers in Pegwis, and Pegwis is one of the biggest community in Manitoba. Growing up, I never heard anybody speak our language. I always had an interest in it, and I asked my mom one day, she seen us on doing some kind of program there. She says, "Son," she says, "I seen you on TV." She says, "You were doing an interview." And I said, "Mom, what happened to our language?" She said, "It was outlawed. We couldn't speak it on our reserve." She says, I said, "Did her parents," I said, did Mushum, it means grandfather, Mushum and Grand speak it?" "Yes," she says, "but they had to speak it secretly at night in the bedroom," she says. "Because if they got caught, they were threatened with them being taken away, the young kids, and with jail." And that was one man ran that whole reserve. They called him the Indian agent at the time. He had so much authority. He had backing from the police and the government, and all of our language was outlawed. We couldn't even speak it, not till, I think it was in the 70s, they started bringing language back to our school. But it was French. So they used to try to make me sit in class and speak French, learn French. And I said, "I'm not learning that." I said, "That's not our language." Even at the time, I was still a teenager, but I remember that's not our language, and I'm not going to speak it. So I used to skip those classes, and then I'll get caught and punished quite severely. We used to get straps at the time on the hand with a leather strap. It was about 10 inches long and about 1/4 inch thick, and that principal used to have it hanging on his wall there. And I remember getting that a few times for skipping those classes, those French classes, which I didn't want to take. I wasn't going to learn it, So anyhow, my mom just used to know a little bit, not because it was outlawed. You couldn't speak it. My dad, however, was a product of residential school in Brandon. Brandon Residential Schools was one of the worst in Canada. He went there. He doesn't know how old he was when he went. He was just a little boy, he says. And they let him out when he said, I must have been there at least 10 years, he says. And our language, he says, when we try to speak our language, because that's all he knew, And he said they were beaten and starved. He said if I spoke anything in my language, he said I was locked in a little cupboard all day. We had to sit in there crunched up, like kneeling like this, like sitting there. He says we couldn't leave it. And we had he says they starved us. We used to have to steal food. And he had younger siblings with him. And he said they used to go around, had to steal food. Why? And the government makes it sound so like as if they were looked after back then, He said, that's lies, he says. He was there all those years in residential school, and they said it was to educate them. My dad could barely read and write. He says when he was there all that time, they were used as slaves, he says. They used to line us across these big fields. When you go to Brandon, Portage, those big fields? He says we were just little kids. He says they made us walk back and forth for the farmers to pick all the rock and the bush and all that, the trees. He says we cleaned those fields. He says not them. He says they used us. He says we were used as slaves there. He says little morsels of food. He said they used to get. He said there used to be bugs in there and everything. Like like rotten old food. My dad was there for many years. He doesn't even really know like how long or anything, Like they never gave him records or nothing, So when he did come home, he doesn't know what year, but he said he was about maybe 16, 17, he says, when he finally got to come home. And he said he got back to Pegwis and he was so happy to go see his mom and dad. He said he ran all the way there was a place halfway, it was called on the reserve, where they used to do all their halfway stuff, meet there and everybody. He ran from there all the way home. He says, got home and he was asking his dad, "Where's mom? Where's mom?" He didn't even tell him his mom was dead for a few years already. He didn't know, nobody said anything to him or anything. From there, there were kind of like I guess my mushroom Tom Bird, they moved trapping and, sustenance for themselves, So they had to move trapping line and all this, So I didn't know my dad spoke those languages growing up, And my wife's dad, he's Cree, and he'll come visit down there, and that's all my wife's dad will speak when older men came around, And he used to talk to my dad in Cree, and my dad will answer him, I didn't know that, But he said, I said, well, Dad, how come you didn't teach us? He says, I didn't want you to go through what I went through. He says, you can't go through that. He says, it's horrible what they done. He says, He says, there were big dorms of us. He says, just beds in this big long building. He says, in the middle of the night, he said, those guys will come in there, take a kid, he says, and they're my friends. He says, I'll never see them again. He said, I always wondered what happened to those kids, he says. And he says, the back of that building, it was forbidden to go there. He says, we used to sneak there, he says, and there used to be fresh graves there. He says, we always wondered, he says, what happened to, my friend from up north, there were different people, communities, So now he's gone now. He died many years ago, 23 years he's gone now, my dad. He was 72, he passed on. So cancer killed him, lungs. And when he was sick, the doctor told him, Mr. Bird, you better quit smoking. My dad never smoked I was just a little boy when he quit over 40 years, I guess that was because of TB, all the kids were dying, back then, they never looked after them properly, all bunched in a place like that. And I guess a lot of them got sick. And those scars stayed with them forever in their lungs, And I think that's where the cancer came from that, And now before he even got, I guess they're trying to do compensation, for the different, like residential school people, But they prolonged it so long, like a lot of them died before they're even, compensated for anything, And then they wouldn't let the kids do it. Like us, there's 10 of us in my family, and none of us could apply, And they wouldn't even let my mom apply because they said, oh, it ended there with him, It didn't. It carried on today with us. And hate is such a strong word, but I just get my goat. I don't like that what they done to him. You could feel it, and so I taught that to my kids, And now my grandkids, I'm learning. Don't trust anybody, That language is so sacred to us, Keep it, My dad lost his. My mom lost hers, Like the language is what, like, who we are, I guess, and I know it's an old cliche, everybody says it, but it is, man, like the Ojibwe language has to be brought back, and that's where our group came in. We tried to make that CD so it's short and sweet songs, and not long, old, boring ones. We're trying to make it short so kids will get it right away,
Has it been a fulfilling journey to bring back the language to people, learning it both for yourself and sharing it with others?
I guess it would be, but we got shut down because of COVID. We were just getting going in. We used to do language conferences around the city here, and we went to a few places and we were asked to perform there. And there's a lot of educators there, and they'll come up and say, oh, can you guys come perform us, and like there was people from Saskatchewan, and even Ontario, and like in different places just coming asking us to perform, and we were just getting started, like, and then COVID hit and just shut us down,
What are some of the hopes or plans for Nagamoodaa?
Our hopes are like we'll really like to push it more, like I told the girls, like, I don't do anything anymore. I'm ready to go anytime, but now they got families, and they got to work, they got bills and everything. So we're trying to get the second CD going, like our second recording. We have some songs all penned and worked out, but we just never got a chance to get together, And since I'm older, yeah, just like when I get sick now, it's like it hits me so hard, Like, I'm not young and like the girls anymore, And so I gotta watch. My wife doesn't like me going around people or strangers, You stay home what you want to go for, like stuff like that. She says, you get sick so easy, she says. And when I do get sick, it's like it hits me so hard, Like, I guess it's because of old age, I guess. But we'd really like to get the CD out there, get it promoted to the schools, It has to be something like out there for them kids. Maybe that's the way to get them interested, like. Maybe that's what we need, something like that, and they're made for like starting young kids, like kindergarten, I guess, or nursery, wherever they start, They have to be taught from there from a young age. Even my grandkids now, I ask them simple little things, like, I'm like, Andeja yen. Oh, I'm just going over here, Mushum. Andeja yen means like, where are you going, Like, simple little things like that, you try learn them. And our CD, and we have our songs written out, you'll see simple little words like that, like, Oma Bijan, come here, It's simple little things. We try to keep them simple little words like that, not big long ones, like. So maybe that'll get them interested, and spark something in them, And even if it could help a few, out of many, it'll benefit, That'll make me feel good, because I'm such an advocate to get our language up and started, and I really want to push it out there. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is to get it out there, show them to kids, that, and who knows, maybe they'll do their own, CDs and songs, and promote somehow, when we're gone, maybe they'll come and do it, take it over.
Multicultural is located on Treaty 1 territory, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis.